Welcome, everybody, to the HireMyVA Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank. That means without breaking your bank. And I'm Dave Braun, and I'm here with my partner and co-host, friend, mentor, best buddy, coach, Larry Broughton.
David, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic here.
Man, what a week it has been. Jeepers creepers.
Gosh,
you doing all right?
You're in Chicago, right?
I was in Chicago. I just got back last night, so that was good. Thank you for being flexible with your week last week for our weekly get-together. Love you. Love our friends that are in our little group that keep me sane. So thank you for keeping me on the right path. Who the hell knows where I'd be without you guys?
Ditto, man. I don't know. Let's not think about that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think we got to jump into this week. What we got going on?
Yeah, we've really got a good topic to discuss. Now, this isn't really a question as much, but a topic because it's dear to our heart. We see this happening all the time. People making some big communication mistakes, damaging relationships when they do it the wrong way. So the topic basically is what are appropriate and non-appropriate items to communicate via, like text messaging or like Slack, your email, and versus talking on the phone or doing a Zoom call with somebody or sitting them with them in person. So what are appropriate and non-appropriate items to talk about? And you want me to talk a little bit about two examples that happened recently?
Sure. Let's start there. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and of course I got to keep them very general, but here's one of them. There was an email that I was mistakenly copied on. And one of the business partners, so there's two business partners in this.
This is going to be juicy. This is going to be juicy, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, kind of. Well, one of the business partners, he was so frustrated with the other one. And he said some words in there as like, do you want to keep going in this business or not? All right. And he was so frustrated. And then the other one that I heard about was someone who's really responsible for like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 team members in their organization. And then those team members service like another, hundreds of people. So there's like tens of thousands of people that this person is really responsible for. And he sent an accusatory email to a vendor early in the morning, like at 4 a.m. And it was like the language wasn't that great. And it was pretty inappropriate. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I guess where I would start with this, Dave, let's remember that anything that's in writing, whether it's via text or email, can come up during discovery if there's ever a legal situation. Yes. Okay.
Good point.
You may think you erase it, but you don't erase it. It will come up. It will track you down. Okay. So I think we should always be cautious about what we're putting into emails and into text. If things start getting accusatory, as it sounds like these emails were, or someone is totally disgruntled, I don't think you put it into an email unless you are actually doing it intentionally for a paper trail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there is reason sometimes you want to say, hey, it looks like you don't want to do this anymore. But if you're including somebody accidentally, you said you were included accidentally in this, sounds like it might have been an emotional, maybe they replied all or something like that. I've seen that happen before. My sense though, Dave, is that anytime it feels like it could potentially get ugly, you don't email, you don't text, you pick up the phone. First of all, you breathe. And if you can get some time in between, a couple of hours, a few hours between the response, then you do a video call. Well, number one, if you can talk face to face, you walk across the office, you talk face to face. Number two is video, and number three is pick up the phone. That's the way I prefer to do it, but it takes courage to do that. A lot of us hide behind email, but I've seen more relationships damaged because of text and emails that have been taken either out of context or misconstrued or overly exaggerated than what they were intentionally meant to be. And frankly, Dave, people oftentimes will say things in email or text that they would never say to your face.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And somebody accidentally capitalizes something, or the punctuation is not exactly right, you miss it, right? But if you're face to face or on video, you get a little bit more sense of the intention of the messaging, right? So what should be included in email and text and that kind of thing. I think you can disseminate memos and those types of things. That's fine. I would really stay away from confidential information. You got to remember also anything that's in text or email can either be screenshotted or shared somewhere
Right.
else. So unless you want the world to potentially see what you're doing, and I've seen a lot of personal stuff. Frankly, let's think about. We could probably sit here and in just a matter of a couple minutes come up with all kinds of scandals that have been caused because someone has texted, sexted, emailed
Yeah.
inappropriate stuff to somebody and thought it was only between two people.
And for
See it all the
us,
time.
and yeah, we see it all the time. And then, but these people that do it, and I've been guilty of it too. It's you're in the moment, you're so
I
emotional,
get
or
it.
so you're
I get it.
angry or something, and you just you it's almost like you can't think, right? And it's like the first thing that you want to do is like, I just got to get this off my chest.
Hey,
And
I've done it
instead
too.
of making the rational decision, like you said, and sending an email that says, hey, we need to talk about this, let's do a quick call.
Well, I think you need to pause right
Yeah.
there for a second. Number one, this is where discipline comes in, self-discipline. Okay. Yes, there are times, probably a couple times a week, I want to do that, but I don't do that. Have I done that? Yes, I've done that. Hopefully I've matured since I can't think of the last time I did. I couldn't tell you a specific time because I try to be disciplined about it. This is where you have to breathe, right? But it takes courage to stop, and not send the darn thing, right? So I think that's part of the process right there. You got to breathe, you got to halt, right? And let cooler heads prevail on this. I forgot what my second thought was going to be on that, but let's keep going. I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
pop back into my
Oh
brain.
yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the
Yeah.
things that you said that triggered in my brain was I think we have to understand ourselves and what can trigger us to get into a mode like that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we feel that we are not being respected? Do we feel we're not being taken advantage of? Do we feel that they're accusing us of something that's unjustified? What is it that pushes our own buttons?
Well,
Right?
that's if you're responding in anger, but part of it is you got to wonder, it's not just that. Sometimes people will reply all or just go down the rabbit hole of an email um, out of laziness. Instead of just picking
Mm,
up the phone and calling, let's be honest, people have gotten very lazy since email has come out. It
that's
takes
true.
more effort nowadays to sit down and write a letter, a thank you card, than to send a quick email,
Hmm.
right? It's easier to send an email than to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, it is.
But you don't build relationships. I don't know. Maybe it's happened, but this isn't 150 years ago where people would correspond via pen pals and fall in love and be married, for the first time they meet. That doesn't happen
Yeah, yeah,
anymore. We got to be
right.
building relationships with people, and that takes some face-to-face time. It takes some actually calling people. Um, so, hey, similarly, recently, I've seen it with a client in our organization where a client clearly got pissed off, and it could have easily been diffused by just the person on our team picking up the phone and calling them as soon as they felt like things were starting to go off the rails.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. It's so much easier to do that. And we got to remember, particularly if it's a client that we're talking about here, they are paying us.
Mm,
They are
yes.
paying us, right? And so it's our job to pick up the phone and have a solution, right? Or offer a solution to them. I'm not saying we should be disrespected. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I can tell you this: we have to weigh it all out. Is it worth me eating a little bit of humble pie in order to keep this relationship and actually turn it around? In the old days, Dave, I used to teach this saying that was much more accepted back then. How do we turn customer service terrorists into customer service cheerleaders? What I found over the years is those people who were end up being the most loyal were at one point almost haters of ours. But if you can turn them around, they're almost like former smokers.
Huh.
And if you can turn them around, they can become very loyal, right?
That's true.
And so it's worth the effort to take the time. So it's the same thing with team members. If we've got if we have an issue with a team member, instead of emailing them and potentially embarrassing them even more and turn them into an enemy instead of a hater, right? Or forwarding that darn email onto somebody else, if we just pick up the phone, or as you'd said, hey, that email that went out, you said that went to, 100 people who then thousands of people. The email probably should have been, hey, I think we've got an important topic that we need to discuss. Can we set up an all hands on meeting tomorrow morning to discuss this?
Yeah.
Here's the video link, and then 12 hours later, we're a little bit more calm.
Yeah.
And we actually may have we may have more perspective on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like what you said. It's like we are responsible. That's the one thing that is very different about us as human beings versus the animal kingdom is we can think before we act.
Yeah.
If we choose to. Right. And I was thinking,
I am not an animal. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I was also thinking about certain things. Okay, what would be okay to send, in emails and texts and all that.
All right. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, the things are like facts or maybe agendas for meetings or a quick question, stuff that, like you had said, that are non-emotional. Maybe how-to questions, maybe simple greetings or something, right? Yeah, I had something today where we were working with a client, and it's on a Sunday morning, and we were doing a site launch, and one of my team members was supposed to be on, but they weren't. Okay. And they said they were, but they weren't. And so I'm like, instead of getting all huffy and puffy and mad and all that, and like, he left me alone, he's disrespecting me, all of that. I said, okay, well, there must be a good reason for it, and we'll just talk about it later. And then I was able to think clearly, and we got the site launched. Everything was great, right? Well, and I now know what happened is he had some issues with his internet, and he came on later. So it's, so in that case, I was successful in putting off my emotions or being upset or whatever, because I realized that I just didn't have all the facts. I didn't have all the information. Right?
Well, I like how you expected the best.
Yeah.
Out of it first. Let's look. There's got to be a reason for this. It's not that he's just being a jerk or being lazy or something like that. But we do have to look at patterns, right? We do have to look at patterns with somebody if it happens over and over again.
Yeah.
And it just seems like every Sunday something seems to happen, or the person's calling in sick every Monday. Yeah, there's probably a problem there. But regarding the texting, what is okay to text? Listen, I think you just got to feel it out, depending on the people, right? All I would say is this: just exercise caution, because things get misconstrued, number one, and it can come out in discovery if there's a legal thing. I guess maybe a third one is, would you want the rest of the world to see this if someone screenshot it or forwarded it to the world?
Or would you be proud of saying this a day later? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I can tell you, I can think of an email years ago that I sent out that I was embarrassed by. I took someone to task in an email. It's like, ugh, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Oh, and I've done it.
And I apologized. Thank goodness.
Well,
because that's the other thing. Do you have the courage to apologize when you've done something wrong?
Yeah, and so if we're talking about managing our team members, when we talk about communication, it's almost instant with some of these project managers, and you can ping in Basecamp or whatever, Slack. It's almost instant, and you can get yourself in trouble. But I love how what you talked about is, do you have the courage afterwards to say, hey, I'm sorry, that was not appropriate, and I'll do better next time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess I can't give you a really straight answer, Dave, on like what should be or what shouldn't be. I can tell you what
Yeah,
shouldn't be: sexting shouldn't be any part of a corporate environment.
for sure.
I wish I didn't have to say that, but I hear it all the time, you know, and those stories make it to TV. Don't be doing that. Um, but what should or shouldn't be, I think you just have to feel your way along. And as you pointed out, would you be embarrassed or would you be proud
Yeah.
uh, of this going out there? So, so again, I just exercise caution. Exercise caution, but I've seen I'm just going to reiterate it because it's so darn important. I've seen a lot of relationships damaged because of email and text. Let me back up. That's not 100% accurate. I've seen a lot of relationships damaged because of misconstrued
Yes.
content
Yeah.
of emails and text. Okay.
One of the things that I do, it just occurred to me, is that on my email program, I have an add-on that I configure to, before it actually, the email goes out, it has a 30-second countdown timer.
Melissa's got that too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it helps. It does help. It doesn't really help
Mhm.
as much in this issue, but it does help in that I sit and think, okay, did I really communicate clearly to the person that I'm sending it to? Am I saying the right things? It gives me 30 seconds of, you know, maybe a chance to get some clear thinking.
Yeah. And again, I think we're putting a lot of emphasis on, like, if you're fired up, if you're pissed off
Yeah.
about something, right? But it's not always that. It's just inappropriate stuff, like being careful that when you hit reply all on emails
Mhm.
from a client, is this really what you should be doing? Does everyone need to see your reply
Yeah.
on this? Um, so I would advise you to be cautious on that. But while we're talking about this, let's talk about email etiquette. If you're doing reply all, if someone sends you an email and there's 5 people that are CC'd on it,
Mm.
but you're replying to a specific person, use their name. We've gotten very lazy, and when we're sending emails, if there's more than one person on there, to not say, hey, here's who I'm addressing this response to.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, if it's just Dave, if I'm sending you an email and you're sending me an email, you and I are both pretty good about using our names, but I don't think it's that important. You know, if you've got somebody that you're emailing all the time, you know, like Derek, our business development director, or VP of business development, he and I usually just emailing just the two of us, right?
Right.
I'm not expecting him to say, hey, Larry, and he's not expecting me to say, hey, Derek, every time. But as soon as you add more than one person in there, you need to be addressing who the email is going to.
Right. So that the way the person takes the action items, or really reads it, or whatever it is you want. Yeah.
I didn't know you were talking to me. I thought you were just, it was general information, right? So just be careful and stop being lazy.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Is
Stop
there
being
anything
lazy.
else? Yeah. Is there anything else on this topic, Dave? Did we hit on what we intended to
I think
on
so. I
this?
think it's it's one of those topics that's kind of tough, and it's like you said, you kind of have to feel your way through it. But I think we hit on a couple of important points: is to stop and think before you do some of this stuff, especially if there's anything emotionally charged
Yeah.
in it, right? Or or if it's like, I remember one of the guys I used to work with, he would have a 2 or 3 email rule. If your email going back and forth is more than 2 or 3 times, pick up the phone
Yes.
and
Yes.
address it
Yes.
and be done with
Yes.
it. So that's another good rule here.
So agree with that. Yeah. As soon as it feels like it's starting to go off the rails, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like, if someone is upset, if someone's clearly upset in an email, don't reply by email unless you're going to say, hey, got your email. I'm going to call you right now. I'm going to call you in 5 minutes.
Yes.
You don't go back and forth via email.
Yeah.
It's just, for one thing, it's too time consuming. You could solve it quicker by picking up the phone or having a video chat with somebody, or walking across the office and talking to them. And you might think, oh, it's just a response. But because of the damage it's done over and over again, then you got to go back and fix it. That takes even more time. Please, I'm begging everyone.
Yeah.
I'm begging you.
We could even talk more on that, but I think we've hit this pretty well. What do you think?
Good.
Good.
We beat the horse. Yes.
All right. Poor horse.
I know.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for being with us today and listening to our Good discussion. At least I think it was good. I got something out
Yeah,
of
it was all right.
it. Yeah. Well, we want you to remember though, building a team. We talk
Right.
about building and what we talked about in this episode. If you're not careful, you can tear it down. But remember, building a team is the way to reclaim your freedom, right? And we're here to help you. So,
Yeah.
3 things we'd love for you to do right now, and we'd really, really appreciate it. Number 1,
Yep.
subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already done so, right?
Right.
And then the second thing is give us a rating. And number 3 is go to HireMyVA.com for more information on our course and community and other
Right.
programs that we are coming out with as time goes.
Yeah.
So remember, though, even without experience, if you don't have experience working with a team, working with people, through our course and community, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. Larry and I, we're just having a blast helping folks, answering questions, and we want to help you too. So just go to HireMyVA.com for more information.
That's right. Hey, do yourself a favor. Do the world a favor. Go do something significant today. So God bless you. God hold you. God keep you. All right, my friends, go get them. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.